Do we have any changes to the agenda?
Just have one additional, and that's the 10.1 that we added on the certified contract.
I'm looking for a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Chair Lindsay, is there a second?
Scott.
Scott.
Scott. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye opposed, same sign. Nobody is here to sign. Thank you guys for being here. It's warm and muggy and in here, so thank you for being here. Looking at board committee reports, 6.1.
Don't believe there's any.
No, we didn't have operations tonight, just because
No.
Bobby and Raleigh were gone, so.
Okay, all right, so we will move on to 6.2. Brian.
So, just a few things. We have the saw the invites for Thursday night. I think so far we have 13 people that have committed to be there for the JLG presentations. That'll be, and that's an open meeting. Anybody who wants to come to it, they're going to basically give the presentation updates on what we're looking at, the possibilities for the projects. So I'm looking for some feedback. So we've invited all of the people that were on the original task force, and then I went through the email list of all of the personnel that signed up for an interest to be on facility expansion. Invited everybody, so there's a list of about 40
Okay.
people that I invited. So, and just asking that for planning purposes to get an idea by tomorrow.
And I actually am going to be, my work meeting got scheduled,
You got switched?
changed to Wednesday, so I will be
Awesome.
at that one.
The looking at the possibility for a retreat for the board and leadership. We cannot do August 2nd. That is also when we have personnel gone for the AVID training. So that definitely puts us out. But the possibility, and if you can just check schedules, let me know if it would work, August 9th, which is a Thursday, and so doing a day and a half retreat. We got a lot of things that could be in process. It could be a really, we could have a lot of, not action items, but a lot of things to work on. Right now, I've been in communication with Dr. Joe Hill, who is the one that was working with our admin team. He's with Giant Worldwide and with AASA. And he would, I know one thing that came out of in some of the meetings that all of you had with the principals, talking about strategic planning, he could lead that for the year, because that is a process that is definitely not a one workshop. So, yeah, Scott, you've been through that, so it's a long process. But if we were going to do this right, it would give us an opportunity to sit down and start doing the planning and laying out the timeline with it. So that would be one of the sessions that we would have. So he would lead going through that process. He's actually doing that with another school district right now. And what he would look at proposing is to come up quarterly with the school board and run work sessions, 2-hour work sessions, 4 different times of the year, so that basically through that whole process we start involving all the stakeholders. And that's what would be hitting all of our, when we're talking about surveying stakeholders, it would be all through that process in the strategic planning to bring the stakeholders' involvement in looking at our strategic plan, where we're at with it. So if the 9th and the 10th won't work for people, and again, I know it's a commitment for all of you because you have other jobs. This is a part-time gig that seems to be full-time a lot of weeks. But we would be able to have that. We'd be able to go through the site goals and the district goals with all the principals. And we'd be able to do, we'd have JLG also there.
You said 9th and 10th?
9th and 10th, so it'd be on a Thursday. And so basically what we'd be looking at is doing a Thursday and then a Friday morning. So doing a half day on the Friday, get everybody out by noon, because that's about information overload by that point. But if you can, I'm working on a quote right now from Thumper Pond on getting rooms locked up and then a meeting room area, so that basically we would have that for the whole evening and then just leave all of our stuff up on the board and what else not, and could have some really nice breakouts with it. But again, I need to know what kind of a commitment people are able to do.
When do you need to know by?
This week, I think,
Okay.
because if I know this week, then I can start locking in and I can bring back for the 23rd what a tentative schedule could look like.
Okay.
We have 2 new openings, potential openings. You'll notice that we have resignations that I've added for consent agenda. Both of them have just come within the last couple of days. One is Angie Keel, and then we also have a speech opening. So Mackenzie is also leaving us. She's just completed her first year here, so we got decisions to make on that. Whether we're going to open up an elementary position, whether we're going to look at reducing some of our title, because again, we talked about that piece with the amount that the 400 and some thousand that we spend on that and only have about 180 coming in. So that's a decision for the board to make. The speech, we don't have a choice on that. We know we have speech coverage to deal with. So we've got that tonight. And also, you're probably well aware, and I've talked about this for months, about the Janus decision that was finalized by the Supreme Court on a 5-4 vote. And that will have definite implications with all of our collective bargaining agreements. I was on the phone with MSEA today, so our non-certified. They're meeting tomorrow. They're going over the contract language that we came up with. And so that should be ready for board action on the 23rd. So they'll do a vote before that. The whole fair share language section of that has to be completely removed because based on that decision, fair share is out. So that whether we don't have to go back and redo the collective bargaining agreement with the certified staff, it's just null and void in the existing because we can't go back into the middle of that anyway. So we don't have to worry about that one, but it's perfect timing with the MSEA one to remove that. So that will definitely have implications. Like I said, master agreement, 23rd for MSEA. The other thing that will be coming on the 23rd, besides the long-term facility maintenance, remember that one will be approved on the 23rd. We went through that at the last meeting, and we're working on getting the final numbers into the budget for that. The other thing that we need to do, and I'd rather just get it done in July, is the referendum allowance reauthorization. That's at the end of the 5 years. So back when the board converted over part of the referendum and had the board authority, and that's for 5 years. So we have to do that this summer. Because if the board doesn't do it, you lose that authority. And we do not want to lose that authority because that gives us a lot of state aid. So I'll be bringing that forward, and that'll be a resolution that has to be done. And MSBA came out with some language on that. We have to work with Robert Baird, Mike Holheisel and such to get the right language for it. So I'll have that ready on the 23rd. So a few different things going on, and when we get done tonight, anybody who wants to take a walkthrough on the site here to see status update on all the capital projects, you're going to see lots of things out in the hallways because they've tore up the carpet in lots of rooms, all the cabinets over at Glendon. They've been removing those cabinets. Mill Creek was here today again doing final measurements. So that will all be in place. They're planning on moving in new cabinets in some of those rooms yet in July. So as we get those cabinets in, Margot will be letting the teaching staff know so they can come in and start decorating those rooms with all the new cabinetry. We've got quotes coming in. Just got a new quote on the asphalt for the Glendon site for the parking lot. And we got apples and oranges on that right now, 2 different ones, about $20,000 off, but it all comes down to the amount of asphalt. So whether it's patching or redoing completely, so we're trying to work on getting that done. That can be done yet in July if we get moving on that. So we'll have all that ready for the fall season. That should be it. Any questions?
When you're talking about the parking lot, are you talking about just the south side, or are you talking about all the way into the back behind the elementary?
Just on the south side where we've got the potholes, they'll come and look at doing some patching and maybe some of the other areas, but we get 2 different proposals that are really, I mean, they are apples and oranges, because the one is just filling potholes in that south side, but the other proposal is coming in doing a much more thorough job with it. So we've got and that one we just got at 4 o'clock today, so I've got to talk to James and we've got to make some decisions on that.
Okay.
Any other questions?
No?
Is it?
All right, we move on to 7.1, the approval of the June 25th regular meeting.
So moved.
Motion by Amy, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Lindsay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, same sign. Moving on to the consent agenda. Claims and accounts, Cindy had given that to me, and
Total bills to be approved at this board meeting, $213,301.53.
Alright. Also looking for the resignation, to approve the resignation of Angie Keel, effective today. Approve the resignation of Mackenzie Carlson, also today. So looking for a motion on the consent agenda.
So moved.
Is there a second? I'll second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Hate to see another veteran staff. Right. She will be missed. Moving on to 9.1, looking to approve the 2018-19 fees.
Are they in our packet here?
Yep, they're in the packet, and there should be a couple of them that, probably a couple of the last 2 sheets that are in yellow, just for question marks. We know we already have the fee schedule set up for the meals, but the ones in yellow are the ones where, you know, whether you want to make any changes to them or not. The snack program, the sub rates for teaching staff, for sub rate for teachers, that is in line right now with regionally. So we're probably good shape there. The snack program is, you know, it's.
Well, I'm on the wellness committee, and we've talked about this several times. You know, do we raise the rate? Do we not? I guess our general consensus, some teachers like it, some don't, but we all believe that there's kids that are not getting adequate nutrition at home, so we feel that, you know, it's an important program even though we're in the deficit on it. I think $40, you know, is doable. We have talked about a family cap, but we have not brought a recommendation to the board on that. We have discussed it. I guess being on the committee, I would say I'm comfortable saying that everybody thinks that $40 is a reasonable price, and I would feel comfortable keeping that as is.
And since, you know, we are where the region is for the teaching, I say keep it,
Keep it, yeah.
keep it as same.
And I think it would be, everything should be set.
Okay. So this was, do we just have a double, or you just highlighted the ones?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so looking for a motion to approve the fees as presented. Motion by Amy, is there a second? Second by Scott. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 9.2, the legal firm, Rupp Anderson Squirrels. Squires, Waldsberger. Kevin, all right, looking to approve.
So
the legal
moved.
firm. Lindsay, is there a second?
Second.
Oh, Scott.
Second by Scott. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, same sign. 9.3, designation of Northwestern Bank of Dilworth, again, as our official bank.
So moved.
Motion by Scott, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Amy. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, same sign. Moving on to 9.4, looking at the district-wide impress fund to replenish the amount, maximum amount of $6,000, authorizing Cindy, Jeannie, Brooke, and Brian to sign and issue checks.
So moved.
Motion by Lindsay, is there a second? I'll second. All those in favor say aye.
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 And opposed, same
There's
sign.
not very many of us.
No, right. Also, petty cash, maximum of $100. Also with Cindy, Jeannie, Brooke, and not you, Brian, on that one.
Oh, so moved. Move that one through. Make sure we're not making.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Amy. All those in favor say aye.
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 And opposed, same sign. Student Activity Fund, Jeannie, Cindy, and Brooke.
So moved.
Motion by Lindsay. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Scott. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, same sign. 9.7, that's where we get you in there, Brian, to authorize you to invest our district cash. So, looking for a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Amy, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Lindsay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, same sign. Investment, named Robert W. Braillard Company for our investments. Looking for a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Amy, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Lindsay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, same sign. 9.9, the non-certified contract for Jill Wallstrom, paraprofessional, effective at the start of the 18-19 school year.
So moved.
Motion by Scott. Is there a second? I will second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, same sign. Moving on to 10.1, the certified contract for Matt Tradewell, special ed teacher, BA plus 30, step 6.
So moved.
Motion by Scott. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Lindsay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, same sign. Moving on to policy committee is Tuesday, July 17th, 6 o'clock in the Dilworth boardroom. 11.2, the fiscal personnel committee is Monday, July 23rd at 5 here, followed by the board meeting at 6 o'clock here.
I think the only
Anything else?
change was policy. I thought we had said 5:30.
5:30?
Yeah. And could you, Brian, since it's been so long, could you send out a meeting invite with the policies that need to be reviewed?
I will, and MSBA came out with
Yeah, it was 5:30 to 7, sorry.
5:30 to
That's okay.
7.
Yep.
MSBA came out with an email, I don't know if you saw that over the last week or so, about the new policies are ready to go again.
Oh, okay.
So all the ones that need revision based on the 2018 session. So I've got to go through that and double check
Okay.
which ones we need with that.
Sounds good.
And then the only other thing, so I'll shoot an email or a meeting invite tonight, right, when we get done. We'll advertise the speech position. What are your thoughts on the elementary position with the resignation for Angie?
Which class, which grade was she? 3rd grade?
Angie was
No.
1st grade. Everybody puts
First
that helps.
grade? Okay.
So,
What do our numbers look like out there?
well, the only way we need to replace.
Yeah.
The question is just going to come down to, do we look at, is this the opportunity to go from 5 people that have been in intervention down to 4. Because one thing we could do is we either advertise it and fill the position with a new person coming in, or we use this as that vantage point of being able to say, look, we're going to go down to 4 because title brings in about 180,000. We spend 400 and some thousand.
Right, I look at it, we're trying to save money wherever we can right now, and I think this would be the opportunity to do.
I talked to, when we had our meeting at 2 weeks ago, I asked, I didn't find not one superintendent, and I couldn't find one district that is overspending like that. I mean, we are so far overboard on it. Many go with, maybe they have one title, certified staff member and then paras, or they do it, they keep it completely off the master agreement. They treat it more like they would OT and PT, where it's completely set as a different rate. So, we either wait until the next year and look at redoing some things, or again, this is one of those opportunities to be able to take advantage of without anybody losing a job. Because if we wait until the end of the year and we say we're going to completely redo title at that time, we're going to have people that are going to be forced out. If we do it more gradual based on retirements, we can do it without people losing jobs.
Is there anybody interested in title currently that would want a lateral move to first?
We'll find that out. We haven't, like I said, this just came about on Friday.
Okay.
So I've had the discussion with the principals about it, because we've discussed this since May, talking about the fact that we can't keep sustaining this. It's just, we're overspending so far in it. And if there's a way of doing it without people losing jobs and just putting them in different places, this is one of those opportunities. But I need to get an idea on that, to which way to proceed.
Well, I think it's a conversation worth having, and certainly I wouldn't want to see anybody lose their job
Exactly.
because
I think talking to the administration and having them getting some kind of feedback from staff, because, I would question if we're grossly spending this much over on title or this much, well, why? I mean, is there a need for it? Clearly, I would guess there'd be a need for it, but if there isn't, then my next question is, well, why did we spend that much last year? So I don't know. I guess I'm not there every day, so I don't know what the demand for title is, but I do know that they do great things.
Right.
So that's it.
Yeah, I agree.
And they're also working with the kids that, that may fall, obviously, and they need that extra boost. So, I mean, it's tough to try and decide whether or not, is it going to make how is that going to impact the students? Because it's tough. I mean, one bad year has such a negative effect on kids, especially at that younger level. I just hate to think that. I don't know.
Well,
I'm talking out loud. I don't have any answers. I just have a thought.
We've expanded title since I've been here, because we've gone to 5 interventionists, and we didn't have that many. And it was nice when we had more money coming in on the federal programs,
Yeah.
and when we had a little bit more in the bank. That was a luxury, to be able to go up to 5. But we know that title funding has drastically been cut. So it's a little bit of the perfect storm. We've got a deficit we've been dealing with. We've got a reduction of federal money coming in, and we've been providing more while we could. So again, it's your call on it. It's just that with this being July, if we're going to replace and advertise, I've got to do it right away. Or we've got to have the conversations on what will the title services look like. If we've got 5 interventionists, then we go to 4. And then we've got to have those conversations over the next couple of weeks.
Do the site principals have a recommendation?
I've talked to one of the 2.
Okay.
Remember, I just got this one.
Right, but maybe we
So-
should do like Scott had said,
Mhm.
take their
Yeah.
recommendation.
Oh, they,
Yeah.
and we have, I can tell you that as we went through May and into early June, we've had the what-if conversations
Mhm.
already, as far as what if we had to go from 5 to 4? What if somebody resigns during the summer? What are your thoughts? And so there is some preliminary plans as far as what would make sense. But then again, you have to wait to find out what grade level resigned, because you don't necessarily know that and how it'll affect.
Right.
You know, this is a first grade one, and who do you move
Yeah.
in?
And maybe moving forward after this, you know, when we look at those the strategic planning, you know, we can kind of maybe revamp as a group and kind of identify, okay, what is the most important things, you know, for our, you know, for the district in general, and then moving forward after some of those meetings, you know, toward the end of the summer and the fall, probably make it these types of decisions a lot easier, I guess I would say.
The thing to remember is there are ways, it's just like when we went through special ed before. It doesn't necessarily mean you're decreasing services, but you may be providing them differently.
Correct.
Because we know that there are many districts that do title services without it all being certified staff doing it.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of planning that needs to take place, but if you're comfortable with, I need to be able to have the conversations with the principals, and
Right, I would be comfortable
I'd be
supporting their,
comfortable.
okay,
their recommendation.
okay,
Mhm.
that helps.
All right, anything else to add? All right. Meeting is adjourned, 6:27.